Hello everybody, Yom Tov, it's me and I'm back today with your folk tales, which I know we used to be on a Wednesday and now they tend to turn up on a Thursday. So, let's go with the flow, and whatever day that I can manage to sort of crawl my way out of bed and work on a video for you lovely people is when it'll happen. I think that's about the best way to look at it. Whenever a video from me turns up, just think of it as a nice surprise, because, I'm like a bad penny. You never know when I'm going to turn up. Boy, is it hot here today. It really is a very hot Yom Tov today, I'm telling you. It's sticky, it's humid, but it's really, really hot. And my makeup's running all over the place. It didn't look like this an hour ago, and now it's like it's sliding. It's doing this sort of like, I'm doing a feminine version of the Joker. I think Heath Ledger would mark me off as a really good lookalike if they wanted to stand in. So anyway, what I wanted to tell you was I would film every day if I could, but my chronic pain and my lymphedema are getting together and messing my life up so that I can't have a life. So sort of in between videos and what have you, I'm having to spend practically all day in bed. Or if I'm up the night before like I was last night, it doesn't make for really a happy me. But I feel very energized today. But I'm going to tell you about that in another video. That's not for now. So I'm keeping an eye on the time. And I'm going to try and keep this into the half an hour for you. So if you'll excuse the hair, if you'll excuse the melting makeup and the Heath Ledger lookalike from the Joker, I've got the story today. It's from Romania. I don't know where in Romania it's from. Might be Bucharest. I'm not quite sure. But the story is called The Two Thieves. I don't know their names. It doesn't give their names. We could call them Sam and Tom if you want to, or if you're from Romania, or if you've got Romanian ancestors and you've got better names, let me know in the comments. They'll probably be better than mine anyway. So, without further ado, today we find ourselves in Romania, Haveners, and we are going to tell an old folk tale, which is told to children, so it's children's suitable. And like I said, we're going to be reading about the two thieves today. So please sit back, relax, while I tell you this old Romanian favourite. And I really do hope that you enjoy it. There was a time when there were two thieves. One was a country thief and one was a town thief. So the time came that the two met and they asked one another where they'd come from, get to know each other, you know what I mean. Then the country thief said to the town one, well, if you're such a clever thief as to be able to steal eggs from under a crow, then I shall know that you are a true thief. He said, see me, I'll show you how I would steal them. So he climbed lightly up the tree, put his hand under the crow and stole the eggs from her. And the crow never felt a thing. While he was stealing the crow's eggs, the country thief stole the town thief's trousers. And the town thief never felt him doing it. And when he came down the tree and saw that he was naked from the waist down, well, he had underpants on, but he didn't have any trousers on. He said, brother, I never felt you stealing my breeches. Let's become brothers. Because you do that, don't you? So they became brothers. Then what are they to do? They went to the city and took one wife between them. And the town thief said, brother, it's a sin for two brothers to have one wife. It would be better for her to be yours. He said, mine she shall be. But now, come now, where shall I take you that we can get some money? Come on, brother, since you know. So they took and departed. And then they came to the king's palace. and considered how to get into his palace. And what did they devise? So the town thief said, "Come, brother, and let us break into the palace, and let ourselves down one after the other. Come on." So they got into the palace and broke through the roof, and the country thief lowered himself, and he took 200 purses of money and came out, and they went home. Then the king arose in the morning and looked at his money and saw that 200 purses of money was missing. Straight away he arose and went to the prison where there was an old thief. And he came to him and he said, "Old thief, I know not who's come into my palace and stolen from me 200 purses of money, and I don't know where they went out by, for there is no hole anywhere in the palace." The old thief said, "There must be one, your Majesty, only you don't see it. But go and make a fire in the palace and come out and watch round the palace, and where you see the smoke coming out of, that's how the thieves got in." So the king went and got a cask of molasses and put it there through the hole. And then the thieves came again there at night to that hole. And the thief from the countryside let himself down again. And as he did so, he fell into the cask of molasses. And he said to his brother, "Brother, it is over with me, but don't do what the king wants. He's come to cut off my head, for I'm as good as dead." So his brother lowered himself down, and they cut off his head, and they went and they buried it in a wood. So when the king arose, he arose early and went there, and where the thief had fallen, he saw the thief there in the cask of molasses with no head. Then what is he to do? He took it and went to the old thief and told him, "Look, you old thief, I caught the thief, but he's got no head." Then the old thief said, "There, O king, this is a cunning thief, but what are you to do? Why, take the corpse and hang it up outside the city gate, and he who stole his head will come to steal him too. And then you set soldiers out to watch him." So the king went and took the corpse and strung it up and set soldiers to watch it. Then the thief took and bought a white mare and a cart, and took a jar of 20 measures of wine, and he put them in the cart and drove straight to the place where his comrade was hanging. He made himself look very old and pretended the cart had broken down and the jar had fallen out. And he began to weep and tear out his hair, and he made himself cry aloud that he was a poor man and his master would kill him. The soldiers guarding the corpse said to one another, "Let's help with this old fella's jar in the cart. It's a pity to hear him crying." So they went to help him, and they said to him, "Hello, old chap, we'll put your jar in the cart, but would you give us a drop to drink in exchange?" "Oh," he says, "certainly, that's what I will do." So they went and put the jar in the cart, and the old fella took and said to them, "Take a pull of my cart, for I've nothing to give it to you in." So the soldiers took and they drank everything. They drank until they couldn't drink any more. And the old fellow made himself ask, "And who is this hanging here?" The soldiers said, "That's a thief." Then the old man said, "Oh dear, I won't spend the night here, else that thief will steal my mare." And the soldiers said, "What a silly thing you are, old man. How will he come and steal your mare?" And the old man and the other thief said, "He will though, dearie, isn't he a thief?" The soldiers said, "Shut up, old fellow. He won't steal your mare, and if he does, we'll pay you for her." "But he will steal her. He's a thief." But look, he's dead. We'll give you our written word that if he steals your mare, we will pay you 300 groats for her. Sorry, excuse me, I must wipe the corner of my eye because my eye's stinging, like I was telling you before. Sorry about that. So the old man said, all right then, dear, if that's the case, fair enough, we'll do that. So he stayed there, and he placed himself near the fire, and a drowsy fit took him, and he pretended to sleep. And all the soldiers kept going to the jar of wine, and they drank every drop of the wine and got drunk. And where they fell, they slept, and they just didn't think any more about it. The old chap, the thief who pretended to sleep, rose and stole the corpse from the gallows, and put it on his mare, and carried it into the forest and buried it. And he left his mare there, and went back to the fire and pretended to sleep. And when the soldiers arose and saw that neither corpse was there, nor the old man's mare, they marvelled and said, there, my comrades, the old man said rightly, the thief would steal his mare. Let's make it up to him. So by the time the old man rose, they gave him 400 groats and begged him to say no more about it. But when the king got up and saw that there was no thief on the gallows, he went to the old thief in the prison, and he said to him, now they've stolen the thief from the gallows. What am I going to do? The old thief said, did I not tell you, O king, that this is a cunning thief? But you go and buy up all the joints of meat in the city and charge a ducat. A ducat's like a big coin of gold. You know, you charge a ducat the £2, so no one will buy any because it's too expensive. The only person that will come to buy that meat is someone who's come into a lot of money over the last couple of days. So, but he said, I'm telling you, O king, that thief will not last out more than 3 days. So the king went and he bought up all the joints and left one joint, and that one he priced at a ducat the pound. So nobody came to buy that day. Next day the thief would stay no longer. He took a cart and put a horse on it and drove to the meat market. And he pretended that he'd damaged his cart and lamented he'd not taken an axe to repair it with. Then a butcher said to him, here, take my axe and mend your cart. The axe was close to the meat, and as he passed to take the axe, he picked up a big piece of meat and stuck it under his coat. And then he handed the axe back to the butcher and departed home. The same day comes the king, and he asked the butchers, have you sold any meat to anybody? They said, we've not sold to anyone. So the king weighed the meat and found it 20 pounds short. And he said, I thought you said you hadn't sold to anybody. No, king, we hadn't. So he goes back into the prison and he has a word with the old thief. And he said, this cunning thief, he's now stolen 20 pounds of meat and no one saw him. The old thief says to him, didn't I tell you, O king, this is a cunning thief? Well, tell me what I'm supposed to do then, old thief. What am I supposed to do? What do? Why, you make a proclamation and offer in it all the money you possess and say he shall become king in your stead, merely to say who he is. So the king went and he wrote a proclamation, just as the old thief had told him. And he posted it outside by the gate, and the thief came and read it, and thought how he should act. And he took his heart in his teeth, and went to the king and said, excuse me, Your Majesty. Yes, I'm the thief. You are? I am. Then the king said, if you are, and that if I really believe you are the man who's done all this, do you see this peasant coming? Well, you must steal the ox from under the yoke without his seeing you. So the thief said, I'll steal it, your majesty, just you watch me. And he went before the peasant and began to cry out loud, Comedy of comedies! Comedy of comedies! And the peasant said, See there, God, many a time I've been in the city, and I've often heard comedy of comedies, and I've never gone to see what it's like. And he left his cart and went off to the other end of the city, and the thief kept crying out until he got the peasant some distance from the oxen. The thief came back, took the ox, cut off its tail, and sticks it in the mouth of the other ox, and came away with the first ox to the king. And the king laughed fit to kill himself. The peasant, when he came back, began to weep. And the king called him back and said, What are you weeping for? Well, your majesty, while I was away to see the play, one of the oxen's gone and eaten up the other one. Well, when the king heard that, he laughed fit to kill himself, and he told his servant to give him 2 good oxen. And he also gave him 2 of his own oxen, and asked him, Do you recognise your ox, my man? I do, your majesty. Well, you can go home. And he went to the thief and he said, My fine fellow, I will give you my daughter, and you shall become king in my stead, if you can steal the priest for me out of the church. Well, the thief went into the town and got 300 crabs and 300 candles, and went to the church and stood up on the pavement. And as the priest chanted, the thief let out the crabs one by one, each with a candle fastened to its claw, and they went scuttling off. And the priest said, So righteous am I in the sight of God, that he sends his saints for me. The thief then let out all the crabs, each with a candle fastened to its claw, and he said, Come, O priest, for God calls thee by his messengers to himself, for thou art righteous. And the priest said, Well, how am I to get there? And the thief said, Hop into this sack. So let down the sack, and the priest got in, and he lifted him up and dragged him down the steps. And the priest's head went tronk, 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 and he took him on his back and carried him to the king and tumbled him down. And the king burst out laughing, and straightway he gave his daughter to the thief and made him king in his stead. The end. And what did you think of that story? You could tell it was old in sort of its language. It didn't use sort of modern day language. You can tell it was like maybe a couple of 100 years old, maybe a bit more. I mean, I'm not sure myself. But you can definitely tell by the language. When I was looking through it, a lot of these stories were collected, as I'm looking down here, 1887. So, you know, that might even been an older story from then. But it was definitely older, much older in the language. Excuse me, I'm having a glass of iron brew today. That's Scottish for girders, you know. Girders are like those iron beams that they put across buildings. And in Scotland, iron brew, a lot of people can't stand it, but iron brew is like a sweet drink, sweet soft drink. And I love iron brew. I've loved iron brew all my life. It's IRNBRU, iron brew. That's how you say it, iron brew. And made in Scotland from girders. Because they used to have an advert for iron brew, and that's what they used to say. Made in Scotland from girders. The girders being the great big iron bars. So, look, I'm to life and to, you know, kind of, I don't mind heat as long as it's a dry heat. This sticky heat, I'm not very fond of that. Anyway, so that was the folktale I had for you today, and I've actually read it a lot faster than I thought I was going to, because when I actually looked at it, it looked quite long. So I thought that's going to fill up the full half hour, but it actually hasn't. It's only filled up 20 minutes. So I reckon you'd rather have a video rather than no video. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this one here, and I'm going to ask you if you enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? Yes, we loved it. That's great. Wonderful. No, I do. I hope you did like it. But, you know, some of the folk tales are written in old styles, and some of the newer ones are more modernised, but this one's definitely at least about a couple of 100 years old, I would reckon. But sometimes the good ones are the best ones. And can I just point out, children who are watching, that stealing, I mean, according to this story, this thief came to a good end. His friend didn't, but he did, because he made a king laugh. But you must never steal, because stealing is bad, it's wrong, and if you want to have something, you either have to pay for it with money, or you have to ask permission if you can buy something. And if you can't afford it, then either ask your mum and dad for a top-up, or do some extra chores around the house to earn some extra pocket money, or ask them to give it to you for a gift, for a birthday or Christmas or Hanukkah or something like that. But you don't just steal things. You have to pay for things, or you ask them to be gifted, or like I've just said. But stealing is wrong. It's also in the Ten Commandments. If any of you go to Bible school, Sunday school, things like that, you must not steal, and it is wrong to steal, because if you take things that don't belong to you, people won't trust you and leave the things lying around. They'll think you'll take it. So that's today's moral. Don't take things that don't belong to you. There. I feel I've done my duty now. Right, guys, I'm going to finish here because I'm still feeling quite perky, and I do have something that I want to share with you. So I'll probably pop back, but I'm going to take these eyes off because they drive me absolutely nuts. I don't know what it is today. I'd followed one of Angie's tutorials. She'd done lilac-y, pinky kind of stalagmites coming down. She was doing one of our photo-inspired challenges. It's called our PICC challenge, I think. And today it was our friend Laura had put up this picture of stalagmites, and they were like this pinkish colour. There was water, this blue water, and the sun. And she just put blue all over the lid, and she did the 2 shades of pink around the back with some sort of like a burgundy mulberry bit here. But I thought I'd be clever clogs. She put her gold for the sun on the inside. I thought I'd be clever and try and give myself this daft cat's eye. And all it's done is it's just spread all over my lid. So that's a lesson to myself. Don't try and teach your granny how to suck eggs, as they say. Not that I'm saying Angie's a granny or looks like a granny. I'm not. But it's like, it's a thing for don't try to be clever than the person who's trying to teach you, because it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. And I thought I was doing a good thing, and I did think I was trying to be clever, so I could go, hey Angie, look at what I've done. Oh, what do you think of this? Haven't I done really well? And in the end, I've ended up like a complete twit. So I am going to remove this eye look, but I'm going to come back with something simpler, I think. So the next time you see me, I won't look like this. I will look like something else. Oh, obviously about 20 stone lighter would be handy. But never mind. These are the jokes, folks. And if you didn't get that joke, it's alright, because I didn't make one. Right. I love you all. And I shall see you again very, very soon. And sooner than you think. So, love you. Take care. Stay safe. Like I said, please like the video. It's really, really important. You don't have to subscribe, but please like the video. And if you don't like it, tell me. Don't hit the dislike button. I'd like to get 100% just once this month. But, you know, the thing about it you didn't like, just tell me. Because if you don't tell me, I can't put it right, can I? Right? You know? I'm not psychic. I'm more psycho than psychic. You know? And I'm not a medium. I'm more of an extra large. So that was a joke, by the way. I just thought I'd tell you. Right. I'll see you again very soon, guys. Bye. See you later. Bye-bye.